Morning, Kendallach. Here to God willing record Oz Dalid of the Marmar Acharon Shel Pesach Tuf Shin. Not so much time, so we'll have to see. What do you call an alligator in a vest? He's an investigator learning to bind our souls together. Pleasure, got hasten redemption, and further the Roman's Malchus. For those of us that believe in it. And, Shavua Tov, it's Chesed Shiva Netzach today. And we were just learning in Oz Gimel how Netzach is the main force, the main tool we use in our service in time of Gullus. There's a source in Panemius Akeser, so nothing recovered, it's beyond concealment. And I think we can even say it's beyond revelation. And it's going to cause these superstar revelations of the future redemption we have right away that are going to be even beyond revelation and concealment, but Mashiach will reveal them in a manner of kingship. Should have it right away. We're generally talking about we have to serve with Netzach, the power of victory, Mesiras Nefesh, going against the grain. Don't let anything get in the way, don't make any just do Torah and mitzvahs and make it happen. And you have this power even in Gullus because the power comes from a place where nothing can conceal. And it'll affect great revelations in the future. And I just think it's interesting that today is Chesed Shiva Netzach, so we're already in the week of Netzach, we're talking about serving with Netzach, so the redemption has to happen. It's like, let's deet on Netzach, let's make it happen. Alright, Oz Daled, Umamshik b'Maimer. The Maimer continues to be that the explanation of this, Mashagili Lasad Lave, Ba Dafka Yedevodis Go is how could it be that the future redemption, all the great revelations of the future redemption, we should have it right away, are dependent on our service and time of goals. We can understand first starting to understand why did Hashem put that beautiful neshama of yours down into the body, and it's interesting to note the bodies are the novelty of our world. The neshama we always had. Novelty of our world is the physical. So why did Hashem take this beautiful neshama and put it into serpent skin and the hide of the snake into the pits of Egypt? What's that for? Must be for a great elevation. Let's see. Shirita Sorgaliyah. It's for a tremendous elevation. So too, Gullus must be for the sake of a tremendous elevation, I should say, in the future redemption. We serve in Gullus for the power of Netzach, overcoming all obstacles, learning how much we love God, learning nothing can stop us, learning how unstoppable a Jew is, learning that you're truly part of God, to affect the tremendous revelation of really how, first of all, to realize how much you love God. You don't realize how much you love something until, God forbid, there's obstacles. And then second of all, you don't really understand the value of you can't really fathom the value of the body, the concealment, until you're experience concealment in it. The body has certain way to the highest parts of godliness, because without it, how could you experience any of these things? You couldn't experience identity, you couldn't experience good decisions, you couldn't experience free choice, you couldn't experience, taking, so to speak, enjoying that you work hard to love your Creator. You couldn't experience that the Creator Himself has the ability to create something from nothing, which is phenomenal. You wouldn't have really much sense of Hashem's tremendous greatness, not that you do now, but just the fact that Hashem could create something from nothing, this is one of the things that just blows a human being's mind. In fact, there's another Maimar I was learning, actually just this morning, B'liyan Har. Look, when Hashem introduced Himself to the Jewish people, He says, I'm Hashem, your God, who took you out of Egypt. Now, wait a second. He could have said, I'm Hashem, your God, who made the heavens and the earth. Isn't the heavens and the earth a greater novelty? Well, first of all, you could certainly, because making heavens from earth is something from nothing, and taking you out of Egypt and all those miracles were something from something, but nevertheless, you got a very Jewish God. He's all about the other guy. He wants to help the other guys. He's not about who He is. He's about what He can do for you. What did He do for you? He took you out of Egypt. He can take you out of your personal Egypt, which starts with your physical boundaries. You've got to remind yourself your spiritual, even a Jew's physicality, spirituality. You're pulling the neshama from your nose all the way through your body and get up and get going. And then overcome your fears, God forbid, and your past, and your mental, emotional, and psychological limits. And Hashem can take you out of all that, and you can be a truly godly being here in the body, but appreciate His greatness. We see Him creating something from nothing. To appreciate the true, intense amount of godliness that's in the body, we need a body. And it's said that in the future redemption, we should have it right away. The soul will nourish from the body, whereas opposed to the time it goes, it says that the body nourishes from the soul. So a lot of heavy stuff there. So you can see the tremendous elevation a person could get if they serve in Gullus properly. They bring out their Netzach. They realize how much they love God, how powerful they really are, how much they can really do, and how great God really is. It's phenomenal. Well, we had revelations before when the temple was standing, but through the service of the time of Gullus, you get even higher revelations. The ones when the temple was standing, you could at least see it. That's what the Rebbe, I think, must mean. You saw the sea split, and you saw the tremendous miracles in the temple, but you didn't get it. You saw it, but you didn't understand it. So there's a level of seeing beyond understanding. And then there's a level of perception that you can't even see it. It just transcends your entire existence. I'm going to suggest that's when the Rebbe walks by, you just feel something. You know, you feel his kingship. You feel a certain awesomeness, a certain greatness. But the sea splitting, you know, I could see the sea split, but it doesn't mean that I understand exactly how God split it. Another mimer we learned recently, possibly in the future redemption, according to the Stomach Tzedek, we're going to see when the sea splits, we're going to see, maybe it's the Mittler Rebbe, I have to check it up. I think it's the Stomach Tzedek says, that was awesome to see them discussing the Pasuk in various forms. To see the sea split, we'll actually see God splitting the sea and how he split it precisely. So maybe that's what it means, Kimei Tzeitzei Mitzrayim, rain and flow. So I'll show you wonders, you'll actually see how it splits. So during the temple era, that was beautiful. We should have the third temple right away. It should be rebuilt. We have the power and the force. We can knock out the Arabs that are in the way, and I don't know what we're waiting for. Let's do it. You know, Jews need to be safe, and we need our temple. Let's quit kratzing. Let's do it. Anyway, those are beautiful miracles, but we could see what was going on. We could at least see the phenomenon. But there's a certain level of miracle that's beyond even seeing where you don't get it. It's just beyond physical perception. You can only intuit it. You can feel it. Everyone's aware of those things. Sometimes you just feel something. You know something's going to happen, or you can feel something in another room, or whatever it is. I think everyone has these little intuitions, or bigger intuitions, whatever it is. Yeah, we should have the temple right away. Let's knock it out and get it done. Anyway, so we're going to have revelations in the future redemption that are even higher than the revelations of the temple. It's because it's going to be in a way of beyond even seeing. Never mind seeing where you don't. It's going to be beyond that. It's going to be beyond any type of sensual perception. It's only going to be in a way of transcendence, and you'll just get in a way of maki, which Mashiach will reveal it to you in the transcendent way. So higher revelations. And to understand this idea that Gullus is for the sake of an elevation, it helps us to look at the idea that Mashiach is also a teacher. That he teaches us stuff we can grasp and stuff we can see. And this comes through our service in time of Gullus. But we said earlier that even what we grasp in godliness and what we see in godliness doesn't compare to the temple era, and was likened to a dream state compared to an awake state. But we do grasp what we grasp, and we see what we see. But when the temple's standing, you see it a little better. We should have the temple right away. We have the force. Let's knock out the Arabs and take the temple, man. At least the ones preventing godliness from being revealed in the world. And they only want you to do your job and stand up and be a Torah true Jew. If everyone's a Torah true Jew and they can all see how much benefit they're going to get from you being a Torah true Jew and doing your service, they're going to get out of the way. They'd probably offer to help you build the temple, but they can't. So at least there's a lot of rules about that. I can't say I know them perfectly. I understand they can't help build the temple. Jews have to build the temple. Main temple is in your heart, but we also need the physical temple. Temple should be your heart for God. You should push out those physical, silly, stupid desires that you have. You should realize that really you love God. Come on, give me a break. You know what the physical is going to lead to, and you know what the spiritual is going to lead to. It's going to be good, and so don't be scared. I'm going to take you out. Just come to me, count on me, pump me up, put me in the front, and we will do this. I'm not scared. Maybe a little scared, but I'm still ready. A person can be a little scared and still get going and go forward. I'm not really scared. I'm ready for the temple. I will knock out whoever is in the way. It doesn't frighten me. Jews got to be safe, and we need our temple. Let's go. And I'm not threatening anybody either. Anyone who wants to help. If you want to get out of the way. I think they just need to see that you're serious about it, that you love God, and you really want the temple, and you're going to do what you're born to do. Jew it up, baby. Anyway, you're not going to be happy unless you live as a Jew and live as you. You can be effective. You can be happy at times, but to really be happy as a Jew, you have to live a Jewish life and express your Jewish soul and your kingship, whatever that is in your particular world, or your queenship, or your personal Jewish qualities. You have to live out and express your mission. So I think if anyone who is opposed to the Jews building the temple now see that we're serious about Torah and mitzvahs and we're here to be a light to the world, they're going to get out of the way and possibly, to whatever degree, might even assist. Alright, so the true seeing was then, during the time of the temple. To understand this whole idea, I think about concealment for the sake of revelation. We could look at the first idea of descent when it comes to Seder Stalshus, the chain of descent of the worlds, happened with the first contraction. Before anything, and it's hard to say before because there's so many levels in Seder Stalshus that are beyond space and time, but before anything, there was just Hashem and His name, and everything was on a God level. There was nothing to talk about. Even nature was infinite. It was beyond being infinite. Everything was Godded out. But there couldn't be worlds then, so God, so to speak, contracted Himself. He brought the light into Himself, although God was everywhere. And He sent out a ray, and the Kitzer, in summary and short, the ray made a bunch of worlds. Eventually, last stop on the train, our world. But the first idea of any descent, moving away from a complete God space, was this first contraction. And I like maybe you could say like moving the idea to the back of your mind. It's much more contracted, so to speak, in terms of the light it holds for you as a physical aware being than when it's on the front of your mind. When it's on the front of your mind, you're living it. Wow, that's even the space you're in more than your physical surroundings or the experience. And what's in your mind is really where you are, who you are, what you are. But when it goes to the back, the light is very contracted compared to your person, and vis-a-vis your personal experience. You're on to the next thought thinking that's the light that's shining, but the light that was in that previous thought that was lighting up a minute ago was very much in the back of your brain and greatly contracted. But it's still there. It didn't go anywhere. It's just not on the front burner anymore. So maybe the idea is we got to get God back on the front burner. Put God on the front burner, we got it all. Anyway, that's a nice way to think of it. So the light's really on when you're thinking about it. That's where you are and how you're present. So let's think about God. Let's think about good things. Let's think about Gula. Shav right away. And the Simsum affected both the completely infinite light and the light that could become finite. The one that could become finite eventually did light up the worlds. What happened in the infinite light? It's like the idea moving to the back of the brain. Didn't really shine up the empty space, like it's not really shining up your mind when you're not thinking about it. Kind of pulls the Simpson boards, low, but it didn't really change the light. It just sort of moved it, so to speak, if you could say that. It just sort of contracted at the back, but the quality of the light didn't change. When that idea comes back to the front burner, you think about it again, it lights you up the same way. And assuming you haven't added new knowledge and you haven't changed a whole lot, obviously the lens could change or what you understand about the concept could change, but assuming that you're more or less the same being, God forbid, because the Jews are moving on a shaker and has to always go higher and higher, then if this idea comes back to the front burner, it will light you up the same way. The light has not changed. Since this light's higher than worlds, any type of idea worlds, there's Simpson can't affect in it a descent or contraction. So if we say you're the world, if you haven't changed, then the light's going to be the same because it transcends you in the same way as it did when you thought about it the first time. But if you change, then the light does become subject to world. So it's not a perfect example, but assume if you think of you as the world and this is the light that lights up your mind, if the world itself doesn't change, the light itself won't change. But if you change the world, it could change the light. So it's not a perfect model, but it's nice. It's a nice way to think of it. It's just that the light isn't shining in empty space. You're not thinking about that idea right now. But when it came to the light that eventually became limited and lit up the worlds, the contraction affected the actual light itself. It was previously, it's just hard. I'm going to use the word previously, but we're talking about beyond time and space, so how do you really say it? But previously, before it was contracted, if I could use that language, I just worry because it's not 100% accurate. But before it was contracted, it was completely Godded out. It was infinite in its own style. It just had the potential to be limited, but it itself was completely Godded out, unlimited. So not really before, but before is the only word as a human being I can use. The Frierdiker Rebbe says there's only two things a human being can't really wrap his head around. That Hashem creates something from nothing, because we don't have a model in our physical universe. I'm adding those last few words about the model, and also things beyond space and time. Because also I'm going to add the words again, we don't have the model. So, how else can I describe something beyond space and time? I don't have a model for you. So the best I can say is let's pretend, so to speak, before. So Hashem, let's pretend there was this act called the contraction, and it happened in a time, which it really didn't. It happened beyond time, and it's always happening. It transcends time, and you can wrap your head around that. But, so to be able to explain it, let's say there was a time, let's pretend that there was a time the contraction happened, that it was in time. So before the contraction, this light was unlimited, although had the potential to be limited, and it was completely beyond space and time, etc., etc. And then after the contraction, its potential became limited, became manifest to some degree, and it came out as a ray. So this changed the actual light. Before it was unlimited, now it's limited. It will come in yummy many ways. Well, first, it was included in just this superstar infinite light with the potential to be limited, the potential to be unlimited. Just completely got it out, and it got separated out as a separate thing to be the eventually limited light that would light up the world. So first thing that happened in the light, it experienced separation. It was drawn out of where it was previously, again beyond time and space. I don't say where, but it was separated. You know, chemistry, nerdy stuff. What do you call it? I can't think of the word right now. You know, put the thing through the column. An extraction. I think an extraction. It was extracted to be by itself. It was refined. It was diluted. It was crystallized. Anyway, it was separated to be an independent entity. It wasn't just included in its previous state. Maybe you could say like taking a fish out of the sea, God forbid, although we don't want the fishies to die necessarily. But maybe you could say like that. It was taken out of its, I don't want to say its source state, but I'm going to say its source state. It was taken out of its previous, it's hard to describe these things because it's so beyond space and time. And it was taken out of its previous, so to speak, position. Let's pretend it had a position inside the just oneness of the infinite light, and it was separated out to be its own thing. So, and that made it a little less. It was included in this complete God space, and now it's just kind of attached to a God space, but its potential to be limited is becoming manifest, and it's, so to speak, going down. It's becoming less. It's not as great as it used to be. Base 2, since it came into the contraction, not in an orderly way, but in a jumping way, just straight in, it came into a level where it could divide into 10 spheres. Not only did it stop being completely unlimited in a God level, it also got the ability to be compartmentalized into the 10 attributes, so to speak. And to mention another point that's discussed at length in Ayin Base, which is where I mentioned something from you earlier, and also Tzadik Daled, Tuf Tzadik Daled, and other places, say for more in Tuf Shin Aleph, that you know, we live in a world of lights and vessels. If the soul is the light, your body is the vessel. If the words are the vessel, the intellect contained in the if the letters are the vessel, the intellect contained in that word is the light. Or you can make any model you like. You could even talk about a simple cup holding a liquid. That the liquid could be the light and the cup could be the vessel. However you want to understand it. There's many models of this. So over there and these other places discuss that this compartmentalization into the 10 spheres, it isn't just because of the vessels and the vessels affecting a change in the light. Even the light itself has, so to speak, these qualities. I don't know if you want to call it, I'm going to say they're even manifest to some degree, but they're coalesced into a single composite, and it's more revealed in the Kalim, but the aspect of these 10 attributes, the concept, it's more than a concept, the physicality, I can't say physicality. I mean, what kind of language can you use here? The light was a single composite light, but it had all these attributes in it. You know, you can make a cup of coffee, and it seems like one cup of coffee, but it has different stuff in it, but it coalesces into a certain oneness, even though there's coffee, water, sugar, and cream, whatever you put in your coffee, but it makes a certain oneness, but all those things are there. So the spheres were there in the light, but they're more manifest, more separated, and more like the Kalim, and the Kalim become more gushim, more, so to speak, physical as they get in the Kalim, move towards, if lights are spiritual and vessels are physical, as the light interacts with the Kalim, becomes a little more physical. Like your neshama in your body, and your neshama above your body, neshama is completely up and above and beyond, it's totally spiritual. When it's in the body, it interacts with the body, you know. Alright, so the spheres were there also in the light itself. Gimel, the third thing, but then lastly, the light went in the vessels. Before it was just completely beyond any concept of vessels. Then, let's just say the last time, it becomes a little more physical, it becomes like the vessels. So first, this light was included in the infinite light. First thing that happened in the contraction, it was separated out. That's a descent. It's a little different now. It wasn't in the same place, in the same state it was before. Now it's heading down to illuminate worlds. It's able to have a compartmentalized state of 10 spheres. It has these attributes inside it. Lastly, it interacts with the vessels and becomes like the vessels, becomes more physical. So by looking, we started this Os by talking about How is it that the revelations of the future redemption, or the future redemption itself, which you have right away, is dependent on our service in the time of Golus? And we said we could look at the neshama coming down here, that it's a descent for the sake of an ascent, and we talked about how great that ascent was, and we talked about how great the ascent of the ultimate redemption could be. So too, we've at least talked about the descent of this light to come down here, and hopefully in the next Os we're going to talk about the ascent, or hopefully soon. I'm not sure what's coming in the next Os. Anyway, I want to wish everybody a great and blessed day. Mashiach now.